Hello, everybody! Welcome to the 12th episode of the Warped Eye Podcast.
I'm Coffee.
And I'm Macaron. Today we have a special guest appearance from our friend Carrot. We will start off with our iconic what if question and then discuss the perception of reality with Carrot.
Hello, all right, everyone. Hello. Yes. All right. So let's get started with what if we are unable to be indifferent to people?
That would be a very interesting life. I feel like I'd have to talk to everyone because I don't like making assumptions about people, and if I do, I want to make sure if they're correct or not. And then so that's so draining to go up and talk to everyone because you can't just be indifferent to them and
Yeah,
make an
because
opinion
then you
about them.
have to care about everything. And I feel like, well, you could choose to not care. Wait, no. If
That's
you
indifferent.
choose to not care, does that count as being indifferent? Because technically you know, but you just choose to not care.
I think choosing to not care is choosing to not care despite what you know about them. So you still have to have an opinion and then choose to not care.
Oh, okay. Well, if you have an opinion, then you have to make a lot more conscious choices in your life. Then you can't make it so you can't lie to yourself that easily anymore. Like you'd always have to be like, I know that I dislike this person, or I know that I think that that person over there is giving me some major secondhand embarrassment,
Oh
because
God.
you can't not care. What do you think, Carrot?
I think if you're indifferent to someone, then you do have to be honest to yourself about how you feel about them. But I think that you always have to be honest to yourself. Otherwise, you kind of go through your life being confused. And then it's detrimental and you don't know what you want.
Oh, what
But
you want. That is interesting.
yeah, it's interesting. But I feel like when you're indifferent to someone, it's just I'm indifferent to a lot of classmates, in a certain class, right? But then if I couldn't be indifferent to them, that means I had to I view it in a different sense. I don't view it like that philosophically. But I don't know. If I have to talk to everyone, I just feel like it's just gonna be such a draining process. Because even in real life, I don't think I have to confront what I want. I still be indifferent to people and know what I want because I just don't talk to them, right? And then I'm just okay. It doesn't matter. They exist in my classroom. I Unless I'm in a group project with them, I don't have to get to know them and form an opinion and be honest about myself. As long as I don't have to interact with them, it's okay. That's how I view it. I don't know.
Oh, I see. So, if we couldn't be indifferent, then, I wonder if we would still be able to have the concept of strangers. Because then you would, always have some sort of connection with people. Like, everybody you pass on the street, you would, have to think something about them. Well, maybe.
Maybe you could just form an opinion without getting to know them, but I feel like that's just It's just mean.
I think you would still have strangers, but you would have to redefine them. In English class, when the teacher reads you a poem or she reads you this biography of this author, and then she makes you write everything you think about him, but there is not a lot to write because you don't know him. I think like authors to us are all just strangers, no matter what we think about their work. Um, so then is everybody a stranger if we haven't interacted with them? Or are people only strangers if we don't have any opinions about them?
Oh, that is very interesting. So we're drawing a line between being indifferent and knowing. Because being indifferent, that's sort of all just internally. Like internally, you just make the choice. You actually knowing and talking to somebody and like interacting with them. You don't have to like say your opinions or anything. So I think it's very gray area. I don't know.
I feel for me, a stranger is someone I haven't interacted with at all. Like I haven't had any interaction with them, so I don't have an official opinion on them. But like at the same time, like it's not that I don't have an opinion on them. It's just I've never interacted with them. I don't really know them exactly. Not that I. Okay, it's so hard to explain. Like if I haven't talked to them or I haven't like had some kind of interaction, I feel like they're a stranger. But unless, because I can have opinions on stranger. Like if someone's, I don't know, like eating. I'm in a restaurant and a stranger is eating really weirdly. Like I don't know, like spaghetti's falling all over him. I'm gonna have an opinion on him. Like he's a messy eater and he doesn't care about his social perception. I'm still indifferent to the guy, but I feel like I still have an opinion on him. Like I don't really care about him, but
Oh, wait, how are you still indifferent then? Wait, are we like saying that you're indifferent because like you don't like act on your opinion? Like you don't go up to him and be like, "Hey, you're spaghetti." Really? Like yucky. Well,
imagine. I guess that's a form of indifference.
What do you guys think are the different forms of indifference?
Okay, I think there's like one form where like you have an opinion on someone, but like you don't care at all, so you don't go up and tell them to their face. Like you're not straightforward about it, and you don't like try to give hints like, dude, your spaghetti's all over you. You don't give hints or like just say it outright. So because you don't care. So like one form of indifference is just not caring. Another form of indifference is like you don't care so much that you don't even make an opinion on them. Like, cool, it's his life. I don't care if he's eating spaghetti, like, and is like throwing it all over the floor. I don't care. Those are my two types of indifference. And then there's like an indifference of like, I've never seen you, I've never interacted with you. So, like, strangers in the world that you've never even met. That kind of indifference.
um, I think the downside of being unable to be indifferent to people is like you wouldn't really be able to ignore. Like, what if somebody was doing something like really bad and like and you just have to notice and it just keeps like bothering you and you can't like make it unbother you because you always like have to like have an opinion or like know to some extent. And it would, like you said in the beginning, it would just be very draining and exhausting. I think sometimes it is really helpful to be able to ignore people and be indifferent and be like, I don't care.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that because then if you couldn't be indifferent, then you'd also have to care about everyone's opinion on you. And that is also just like, I feel like I'd be a very sad person if I like knew if everyone came up to me and actually told me whether like, oh yeah, you're a great person, and some people would say like, I hate you, you're so annoying, why do you like you're so like I don't know, like things that people might hate about me, and then that would just make me sad. So that would be a sad life. Because if other people won't be able to be indifferent to me, they might come up and tell me all of their thoughts about me, and I'd rather just not hear it. So that would be another level of sadness.
Yeah, yeah. Carrot, do you have any last thoughts before we wrap up this very interesting discussion?
Um, I thought when you were talking about how sometimes it's really hard to be indifferent, I think that was a really interesting point. And it's like, does indifference make us worse people? Or like, can we cope with ourselves if we're indifferent, if we have to like take a stand about something?
Yeah. And at some level, we all care about everyone else. Like, if you're a good person, you care about someone's happiness at the same time.
If you're a good
If
person.
you're a good person, yeah. If you're a good person, you care about people. You know, you try to stand up for them. You're like, you're a good person. You're a good humanitarian. but at the same time you don't care about them. But at the same time you do care. It's like at a human level. Like I care about your happiness and I care about like you surviving. But I also don't care about you.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a
Okay.
really human feeling.
It's a very
Yeah.
human feeling.
All right, so let's move on to our next philosophical segment, which will
Okay.
talk more about very human feelings as we discuss what is real and how our interpretation of reality is formed. All right, so Carrot, let us start off with your thoughts.
Okay, so I was thinking, like, when we go to someone else's house and we like sit down in their chair, um, it's kind of like we don't perceive it as like solely their chair. We kind of think that we kind of think about its similarities to our chair, like at our house, because we've seen our chair so often. And so then it's almost like where it's not like a real chair, it's just a chair that exists in our imagination that we're sitting in. And so then, what else are we imagining, and what would happen if we just stopped like having opinions about these things and comparing them to things that we've seen before, and if we just took them as like the raw objects in their existence, would they still be, would they feel realer, and also can we even do that?
Oh, so this ties very nicely into the what if question. Like you're saying that subconsciously we are like unable to be indifferent to anything. We're always comparing it to our past experiences and
Like how
um
biases come from.
biases. Yeah, I think I'm not sure how you can measure if it feels real or like
I mean,
um
everything doesn't have to be real, right? Like you could be living in a simulation and we wouldn't know.
I mean, but the simulation is real, isn't it?
Well, in somebody else's world, in somebody else's world, we are fake, but in our world, we are real. So at some level, our world is always real, even if we're in a simulation, because it's real to us. It's not real to someone else who's running the simulation,
Yeah,
because they know it's fake.
and we kind of have to choose, like, even if everything is set for us, like which chair we'll sit in one day and then which chair we'll sit in the next day. Um, we have to choose to like live as if it is real, and we can make our own decisions and like change our perception of things, because otherwise like our life won't matter to us if we think that it's just like set by some ruler of the simulation.
But what if we didn't care about our lives?
I think, but like, I have a question. Even if our life is like predetermined by like whoever is ruling over the stimulation, like we still can like choose if it's real or not, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
think realness, it just depends on our own perception of things, right? Like even if you know more words for the color green, then you'll be able to distinguish like all of the different colors of green, where somebody wouldn't be able to distinguish them. And so reality is just like in our heads, and it depends on how we choose to perceive the world.
So it goes back to like knowledge and experience, like what you know before. But like, how about when you see like a specific shade of green for the first time? Like you like never knew about this shade before and you have like no past experiences to compare it to.
So like it's a new shade, but you don't have a name for it because you can't think of anything else that has had this color before.
So like it is real to you, but like you just don't know how to express it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I think. And so, if we can express more things, then does it make, then can we like distinguish between events in our life? And does that make like everything more real for us? Or like, how do we define things being real for us? What do you guys think?
what I think everything that we can see is real for us. I don't know. I've never thought about it at such a deep level because I feel like if I ever thought about it at such a deep level, I'd go into an existential crisis. And I think I have thought about it, but then I forgot it because my brain chooses to forget things that make me feel like this. Um, we think it's real. Like I feel like the chair that I'm sitting on is real right now to me. Everything around me is real right now. But when I leave this room, I won't know if what I was in before was real or not. But I assume it was because I can remember it as if it was real. But at the same time, I can come up with a different scenario in my head and make myself believe that I was actually in that scenario. And I think that that was real. So you can make up real things in your head. And in the world, like you're making up more like different parallel universes in which that world exists in your head. And then so in those worlds, if they exist, they are real. But for you, they're just fake, which you have considered to be made to be real in your head. And you think you lived in them. If you
But
can make
if
yourself so hard that you actually lived in those worlds. But like right now, everything around me is real. But I would leave, and then I wouldn't know if I was making this up in my head or not. But I'm pretty certain that I actually lived in this world because I think I'm a mentally stable person, so I'm pretty sure that this is I didn't make this up. So
But like that contradicts the definition of real if you're making up real things in your head, because by definition, according to a quick Google search, the definition of real as an adjective is actually existing as a thing or occurring in fact, not imagined or supposed. So like your memories, those are imagined or supposed. So like
but
the
then
only thing
I
that's
leave this
real.
room. Like I'm in the present. Everything right now is real because I'm in the present and I can feel everything around me.
So
But
only
I
the
leave it,
present is real. Only the present is real?
so the past is not
Yeah,
real.
I agree with Macaron because
Whoa.
um because when I was little, I kept thinking like I don't remember what happened to me and why, and like I don't remember how I learned how to read. I don't remember how I learned how to speak or how to walk. I was like really little, so these things mattered to me at that point. And so one day I was like, okay, I'm sitting on this couch and I will just remember it. And then I remembered it. And I,
I did the exact same thing. Like I always thought like how did this come to be? How come I am like this? How come someone else next to me is not like this? How do our brains work? And like I used to think that there was two mice living in my brain named Mr. and Mrs. Mouse, okay? And that they had a giant house that was my brain. And then there was like bookshelves and stuff with my memories in it. And like whenever I needed it, they'd take the book out and like my brain would read it. And that is how I worked. Because I needed an explanation for things, so I made up the weirdest explanation. Like, when like teachers would tell you to stop talking, I thought you had a limited amount of talking that you could do in this life. And that's why they were telling me to shut up because I couldn't face the fact that I was probably a very annoying 5-year-old. So, like things like that. You make it up in your head, convince yourself it's real. And when you leave the present, and I don't know, like as the present keeps changing, you don't know if the past is real or not. Because I could tell myself right now, like I look up spoilers. Okay. Example, I look up spoilers to movies a lot. And sometimes I don't. And these days, I can't remember which movies I actually did look up the spoilers to and which movies I didn't. Because I just don't remember them anymore. Because I convinced myself that I didn't know after I looked it up. And then I had to look it up again. I forced my brain to forget some things. And I know some people can't do that. But I forced my brain to forget things that I don't like. I don't remember the endings to lots of sad movies. So if I don't remember the ending to a movie, it's probably a sad movie. and because I made my brain forget it, because otherwise I'd just be sad. So I don't know if it was real or not, whether I made up the happy ending to the movie or whether it was a sad ending. So sometimes I remember a happy ending to a movie and I'm like, was it really a happy ending or am I making this up in my head to make myself feel better? So
This is like really getting into like the Schrodinger cat situation. Like, is it alive?
okay.
Is it dead? Is it both? Like, I feel like everybody has like their own perception of reality. Like, all that you can be certain of is your perception. You can't even know if anything else is real or existing. Like, there is like the objective stream of like space, time, whatever. Like, if I did not have my perceptions, there's like a separation between like this like universal reality, I think. There's like this like universal reality that like nobody has access to. We can't feel it, we can't remember it, but like, and we all just have our own little versions of it. But it's supposed, our little perception of the whole like universal reality is supposed, so our own perceptions aren't even real.
Our perceptions are real, but then you don't know what's real, so therefore our perceptions aren't real.
Exactly that. How can you know that your perception is real?
I swear to God, I'm gonna forget this conversation because it's causing me this much of a headache. And I'm gonna be like, this is too scary for me. So I'm gonna block it out after this. And then when I come back, I'll be like, that's what I was saying.
What you're saying right now isn't real.
It isn't real. In my head later today, it won't be real.
Yeah, what you said like 2 seconds ago wasn't real because we established that only the present moment. I just have a memory that's like just like imagined in my mind. Like, maybe you actually, let's just like have a mental breakdown right now.
Oh my God.
Everybody listening, are you breaking down yet?
I am.
Me too.
Carrot, does
Um,
your original argument still stand? Do you have any thoughts?
um, my original argument was that you like it's like really hard to choose. Like, it's really hard to not have opinions about things. And so I think I still feel the same way because, like, you want things to be real for yourself, right? Like, our perception isn't real, but we have to choose to believe that it's real if we want to be happy and move on with our lives. So then,
I don't want to be happy.
if you don't want to be happy, then you can believe that your perception is fake. I'm about to get canceled on Twitter.
What?
If we like have opinions about things, then we can feel like we have a perception and we have a reality that's unique to ourselves because our opinions are unique to ourselves. I mean, maybe many people want to cancel me on Twitter, but anyway.
Carrot, what are your thoughts on like parallel universes or like parallel realities?
This is really hard. I haven't thought about this very much. I think that we live in a simulation because that seems most plausible to me. But then I guess we could have like different simulations that are the different parallel universes.
Oh, why do you think a simulation is most plausible though? Because like, if you have a simulation, then is the world outside the simulation real and only we are not real? Like, this is giving me like major flashbacks to my physics class where we were talking about like real or virtual images. And like, when you look in a mirror, the image like forms behind the mirror, but there's like no actual image behind the mirror. Like if you go behind the mirror, you like take out your phone to try and take a picture, you're just gonna get the back of the mirror. You're not gonna get your reflection. So like it's not actually real. But at the same time, it is sort of real because you can see your reflection and the image like in the back of your eye is real. So Macaron is just having like a really bad breakdown right now. She's been silent for like the past like 5 minutes.
Because this is what's been calming me down right now.
Macaron's just doodling like faces. Okay.
This is what's keeping me calm.
We define our reality first by how we see it and then by how other people see it. Because, like, in physics, like, I could never come up with the kinematics equations by myself, right? But then you kind of, like, see the equations and then you see how they're formed and then it's, like, easier to come up with the equations yourself. And maybe you think that the equations were like something else before, but now you've changed your mind because your perception has been altered by like reality or someone else's idea of what the kinematics equations are.
So like do we have like a predetermined like idea of reality and then all we're doing is getting it altered as we experience the present moment, which is sort of real. I mean, I don't know. Depends. If we live in a situation, not a situation, a simulation.
We live in a situation.
Very harsh situation right
We
now.
live in a sticky situation.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sticky note number 1. Carrot is sticky note number 2. And macaron is that shredded sticky note that got yeeted in the trash can like 10 years ago because of her mental breakdown right now.
Oh my god, that sounds like me. Oh no. Carrot, I'm drawing you.
Thank you. Oh my god, that's me.
Wait, how is that you? Wait, Carrot, are you a human or a carrot? How do you know which one is real?
I'm just like a crowd of carrots under a sweater.
Ew.
That's all I want to say.
I think for all intents and purposes of a podcast, it doesn't matter if you're listening to a person or a carrot talk, right? Because we just want to form our opinions about what the people say. That's what we listen to. That's why we listen to podcasts, right? Or like why do you guys listen to podcasts?
To know what's latest in the true crime world.
To improve my Chinese listening skills. Because literally, they suck so much, and I need to like improve before I take the AP Chinese exam. But maybe AP
Oh,
isn't real. Honestly, I feel like if you can't be certain that anything is real, then the whole concept of reality, you can't be certain that is real either.
I
Okay,
think is that if I live in a simulation, I don't care because you know what? The person who created the simulation took so much time into creating this intricate world. I might as well live it out. You know, see, like live my best life in this world that they created. It must have something good in it if they took the time to create the world, whether the world that they lived in was a simulation or not.
I think so. I think so too. I think we just have to live it out and kind of ignore the facts that it might be a simulation or that it is a simulation.
alright. Yeah, just like how we always tell our listeners to have a good life, just like move on with your existential crisis. It's okay. We'll live somehow. Well, thank you, Carrot, for taking the time to record with us. And thanks to everybody listening for dropping by again. Macaron, say your line.
Oh yes. Goodbye and have a good life.